I've been skydiving. Uh,
Dubai?
no, it was actually indoor skydiving.
Okay.
It was an experience. I was quite young at the time.
Exaggerate the truth a little bit.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to part 2 of the review of the Pillars application. In part 2, I'm going to be interviewing Tariq Jamal, who is the co-founder of the Pillars application. I'm going to be asking him loads of questions, as much technically as possible, but I'll try to keep it entertaining for non-tech audiences. We're going to get to know them. We're going to get to find out who are the guys behind the Pillars application. So please stay tuned and hit the like and subscribe button. If you don't know who I am, I'm Khalil. I make videos about applications, Islamic technology, Muslim tech, how to be a better developer, and things around tutorials where you can empower yourself as a digital Muslim using technology. Stay tuned for the interview. We're going to start in a few moments.
قلبي وروحي أحرفي ولساني عربية حسبي.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Guys, we are now going with Brother Tariq Jamal from the Pillars application. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Tariq, Jazakallah khair for having me. I've exchanged messages with Abdurrahman for some time now. And actually, I'm very privileged for you guys to allow me to interview you and do an application of you. I'm very, very happy of it. And it's really great to see.
Walaikum assalam. It's a pleasure to be on the channel as well. Thank you for inviting both of us.
So the format of the interview today, guys, is I'm going to be as technical as possible. And also I'll try to keep it entertaining because I know there's a lot. I see the Twitter channel all the time and I'm following all the questions. And it's very engaging that you've got compared to other applications and apps in the marketplace. So I think you've done a really good job there. A lot of the users give feedback straight away.
Yeah, it's quite crazy to see how invested the community is with the whole process, the whole journey. It's really nice to see.
So who are you? Describe and just tell me about the last 2 years. Who is Tariq Jamal and what's
So I'm currently a student. Me and Abdurrahman are both students at the same university, University College London, and that's where we met. We met through the Arab Society. I study maths and computer science, and Abdurrahman studies medicine. And when we met each other, we always knew, like, because we're both interested in tech. Me by virtue of my degree, and Abdurrahman just of his own interest, mashallah. And so yeah, when we met each other, we discussed, like, in the future we should definitely do something together, work on a project together or something.
When was this then? Have you about 3 years ago? Were you?
I think we probably met each other about 2 years ago.
Okay.
So that's when we decided, in the future we'll definitely do an app together or something.
Sure.
And then Pillars itself came about when there was the whole leak with the other app. With the whole data privacy thing. We were both in a group chat together.
As you can take a guess, the application is in the comments.
It's going to be really hard to guess that one. But yeah, so we were in a group chat together, and in the group chat, everyone was discussing the whole data privacy leak. And at the time, I had been working on another app. So I had only actually recently learned app development. And Abdurrahman knew that, so he messaged and he said, like, this is something you should work on, like a solution, just to provide this solution for people, as a result of everything. And then I said, okay, I'll do that. And then the next day, like, he messaged again, just with more ideas, and I could see, like, he was really, like, he had loads of really good ideas, and he seemed really invested in the project itself. And then we just agreed, okay, let's just do this as like a 50-50 thing. I would handle, like, the programming of the app itself. He would help with the ideation, and he would handle the user interface design and marketing it on social media. And yeah, that's how Pillars came about. Alhamdulillah.
What is your team then?
It's literally just us two.
Just you two, and he does the UI and the UX.
So Abdurrahman, he's designed all the user interface himself. Yeah,
Mashallah.
and the website.
what's he using for that?
So with the designs, I believe he used Sketch, if you've heard of
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
Sketch. It seems quite cool.
Multi-skilled. He's doing medicine and he's doing the UI as well.
Yeah, mashallah. It's very cool.
You work in sprints? Is there a development timeline that you work in, or?
It's very sporadic. Well, not sporadic necessarily. It has been sporadic in the past, but not so much anymore now that we've actually launched. But what happened was, that whole leak, I think it happened in either November or December of 2020. And so right then and there, we decided, okay, we'll work on it. And straight away, Abdurrahman got to work on the user interface designs. But then I had a few other commitments come up, and I was unable to get those designs implemented at the time. And so it kind of went on the shelf until maybe about, I think it was February or March of this year. That's when we started to work on it properly again. And then it was like a sprint to the finish line of actually launching it.
Was there a name before the pillars, or is it just a poll with the community and
we have a working title. We had a working title, and this was actually some people might have noticed this because when we launched the beta for Android, the link at the top for the beta like download on the Play Store had a working title. It was Muslim Plus.
Okay.
But we decided to move away from that.
He's giving you clues, guys, to the application.
But yeah, that was the working title, and subhanallah, like someone came up with the name Pillars on Twitter. I think it's a friend of Abdurrahman's, and yeah, we did a poll for it, and it stuck, and I'm really happy with the name. There was actually something I tweeted out a few weeks after launch, but I only recently realized that my middle name Imad actually means pillar.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's not Qadr.
Actually, you know what you're talking about, Qadr, right? I've just I prayed Maghrib Salah, and there's just been so many interesting things about the application. So I prayed Salah, and as I'd come out of Salah, I looked up and it's just Maghrib. You can see the halal. It's so clear, and it looks like the Pillars application. So I'm going to feature the video of what I filmed just near my house now. And I said, I need to check on the channel, so I'm just there filming with my iPhone, trying to get it in.
Yeah.
Because here in Dubai, the weather, especially when it's night, and the scenery that you get, it's crystal. Ramadan, you see the moon.
Oh wow, mashallah. Is there not much light pollution, or?
There is, but you can still see the moon, subhanAllah. If you're at the beach or wherever you're staying in Dubai, I always manage to see it. It's pretty surreal, actually, because I've grown up in the UK. In Manchester. I spent all my life there, and we used to go outside after Isha, and you're not going to see anything. Even you go to the A roads and things like that.
You might smell the pollution.
Yeah, even with the light pollution as well, the less. When you go to the countryside on the A roads, you see the stars, but you don't see the moon as much.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
So, is there a mission statement that you guys have?
There is one on the app, yeah. I've forgotten the exact wording of it because I think it's a few hundred words long, but there is one, on the settings page at the bottom.
Can you see my screen?
I can, yeah. Oh wow, mashallah.
So, brothers and sisters, I've got some technical questions. Yeah, what framework have you built the application in?
Yeah, so it's all been done in Flutter. Google's software development kit for cross-platform apps. Yeah, and then any native. Yeah.
Use SVN, Git, Bitbucket.
What was that, sir?
Use the source control.
No, I'm not too familiar with what that is.
You don't use Bitbucket or GitHub?
Oh no, GitHub. Yeah, sorry.
Nice.
Yeah, sorry. You said source control, right? I usually call it like version control. But yeah. But yeah,
on your local machine, isn't it?
But yeah, there's a GitHub repo.
Okay. I think if I can just take a step back before we get into technical. So it's Muslim made. It's privacy focused because of the leaks and the data, and there's many others actually. There's many others that have been leaked, other applications. I'm not going to go into them because I don't want to name and shame. But and it's free with no ads. Those are the
Yeah.
three unique USPs, yeah? So we were saying you've made the application in Flutter, you're using it. What's the AWS? You've got AWS infrastructure we're using for the servers?
There are no servers at the moment.
Okay.
Everything is handled locally on the device.
So let's go to that. So you're not using any servers.
Mhm.
If I don't use the location API, can you still calculate the prayer times?
No. So it needs access to your phone's GPS.
Okay.
Because it will literally plug like your latitude and longitude
Yeah.
into the formulas to calculate your prayer times.
So where the prayer times coming from, an API, or have you stored them in a
Yes,
database?
API. Yeah.
Okay. Where's the API hosted?
The API is stored locally in the app as well. It's built into the APK and an IPA. It's called Adhan Dart.
Adhan what?
Adhan Dart. So Dart is the language that Flutter.
Yeah, correct. Okay. Is that an existing API then? Or a library that exists?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Who's developed that?
I'm not sure. I think it's a brother from Bangladesh, but it is really like an amazing API package. It's really good.
The
Mashallah.
location ID is shared. You share the lat long, and then you calculate where the user is based, and you display the prayer times based off that.
Yeah.
Is that database? Is it? I'm just trying to like just get this. Is it regularly updated, or is it pre-calculated prayer times? For the next
So it's not an API in that like we don't send off data to a database or anything. It's literally a package where we use that code like on device to calculate it. Yeah, so I think they've pulled formulas from there's a textbook. I'm not going to remember the name, but I can link you to it.
Okay.
It's an astronomical formula book that they've pulled those formulas from. Yeah, then they calculate everything from there.
Yeah, so what I'm saying, so even, oh, that's so interesting. That I'll have to check out the API then.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I can send you the link for it now if you want.
Yeah, please do, and I'll share it in the description, and I'll discuss it in the blog as well. I'll give it a review. It's completely offline then.
Yeah, completely.
I think that's an achievement in itself, especially if you're on your i'tikaf and things like that, or you're out and you've not got data and you need to rely on an application. It's a pain. I was just the other day I was at Al Khawanij, which is a little bit outside of Dubai, and I was horse riding, and there was a restaurant that I went to, and because of the coronavirus and whatnot, I went to the restaurant and I wanted to get a burger, and they said you need a QR code, and my data wasn't working, and it was literally 10 minutes of discussing and arguing with them. And I said, are you seriously saying you don't have a menu where you can tell me what burgers you've got? I've got money, I'll pay you extra money. But you
need the internet. Yeah.
You need the internet to get a burger now.
It's very unfortunate. I mean, one thing that might require, I don't think it necessarily requires like the internet, but it might require service. That's just getting your phone's coordinate data. Like it won't be able to use a GPS without it, as far as I know. But yeah, in terms of sending anything off to a server, no. Alhamdulillah, it doesn't need that.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. So just some more personal questions then before we go back to tech. When are you planning to finish university?
So I actually ended up taking a year out to focus on app development. So I was in my fourth year, but back in December, I took the year out because I was working on another project and the workload for that was piling on.
Is that an Islamic application?
No, so this is a separate health tech one.
Okay.
Yeah, I can speak more about that if you're interested. But
yeah, definitely. Is this with Abdurrahman as well then?
No, so this is with another med student. But this was it's off the back of a hackathon. So there was a hackathon at the university back in 2020 February, and it was called Dementia Hack, and we were given the task of coming up with something, an app that would be used to incentivize people at risk of dementia to implement healthy lifestyle changes, such as walking or exercising, or quitting smoking, etc., etc. And alhamdulillah, we won that, our team. And so we were given the opportunity to have our app trialed as part of a national healthcare trial. mashallah, like alhamdulillah, it's been really nice. And so yeah, alhamdulillah, we've been working on that for the past, I think it's coming up to a year now. And the app is called Eden. It's basically like, we call it a gamified way to get people to walk more. Because most of the apps that you'll see out there, such as Strava, or even your built-in like Apple Health, Google Fit, the way they incentivize you is usually just through displaying numbers. Like you walked this many steps, or you walked this many more steps than last week. We gamify the whole process by making it a bit more competitive. So each week you're matched up against someone of a similar fitness level. And there are two sides of a forest, and you're racing against the other person to complete your side of the forest. And you do that by planting trees, and you plant trees by meeting your step and distance goals. That's just one aspect of it. There are some other aspects as well.
Okay, I'll definitely check it out. I'll have to download it. I'll put the link as well in the description. That's built in Flutter as well, then. Yeah.
I actually learned Flutter for that, and then alhamdulillah, I've managed to like transfer those over.
Quite a forgiving programming framework. I like it as well.
Yeah, it's really
I prefer React Native, but there's so many more things that you can do with the framework on top of it. So going back to pillars, can you name 3 interesting things regarding data? Anything that you've seen that's been like subhanallah, or like, I mean, like, do people? Let me ask you one, right? Are you using Google Analytics?
No. So no, not yet. We may use Firebase in the future, but if we were to, it would be completely anonymized. But Google Analytics, we were considering it, but as soon as we saw that Google would have access to the data themselves for things like ads, we decided no. We decided against it. So
there's no analytics in the application at the moment?
None.
There are privacy-based, I mean, like, are you sending anything back to your servers then, or?
No, so we don't have servers. So we wanted to ensure that the community's trust would not be breached. And that, like, in order to achieve that, we have to ensure ourselves that there's no risk for anything like getting out or any other third party having access to any data. And so while there are these solutions, like privacy-focused solutions, it's just a case of us needing to do vetting for them. I think, like, I'm quite new to the app scene myself. And so I wasn't even entirely aware of there being these sorts of privacy-focused analytics packages. But yeah, it's just a case of needing to research them and ensuring that our users...
Fajr time, not to interrupt you, like, you wouldn't know how many users are, if they're waking up or not.
No. I
think that'll make a lot of people happy.
Yeah, it would. I mean, we do have things that we want to do. There's a really nice... I think we came across this in another app, and it's something we would like to implement. But there's a nice share feature we came across in an app where it's like, let's say you share to one other person, and that person shares the app to 2 other people. The app would tell you that your share has reached 3 people. So it's like you have this branch, and it's like by sharing the app to one person, it's almost like a domino effect, but you can see how you are now getting the reward for X number of people just as a result of sharing this one link to one person. That would be something that we think is really nice to implement. It's just that we would need to, at that point, have a server. Everything would be anonymized, but then we would have to keep track of, say, who's shared the link.
That's what I was thinking as well. So, like, privacy, when you talk privacy and data, say, for example, if you had an AWS server, and people were using the application and they were disabling their notifications at Fajr time, and you would know a lot of people weren't, for example, praying Fajr. Or people who have the adhan, but they pick Mishari, Rashid Al-Afasi, or somebody else.
They want to use
there's a lot of things you can do with data anonymously on your own analytics. Are you for that, or are you guys? I mean, I personally don't see that's like a breach of privacy, because you're not collecting anybody's email. You're just collecting. It's not even taking an IP address. It's just getting pure user data.
Yeah, just those numbers. Yeah.
I'm sure people
Yeah, I mean, it's not something I'm completely against, or
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say I'm against it, full stop. But it is just a case of wanting to be like completely tactful about it,
Yeah.
and wanting to be fully transparent. Like, I wouldn't want to risk implementing something like this and then it turning out that okay, it's not actually
That's the
anonymized, or that
irony,
it's
isn't it?
something.
You guys have built this privacy
Yeah,
strategy as your roadmap. So if you come up
yeah,
with something, mashallah, I'm eager to see that, inshallah.
inshallah. So yeah, so with the share feature, like there are ways. I think Firebase, for instance, like they have authentication, so you can have like a unique user, but you
Yeah.
can do that completely anonymously. And if they were to ever delete the app, all data for them, like that data no longer persists. I think it actually deletes it from the database as well. So things like that would be very cool. But also, we would want to make sure that they're opt-in only, and the default would be opt-out. It's just a
Okay.
case of like wanting to be 100% like certain that everyone's happy with the way it's being done.
Okay.
Like wanting to know whether or not people have got their Fajr notifications turned off. While it is cool, it's completely in the user's like right to not want to share that information, however trivial or however small that information may be, I think.
Can I ask, let me ask this question then. So what's wrong with it? What's wrong with you seeing that data? And there's somebody, my cousin used to ask me this question, like, what's the problem?
Hmm.
Right? Everybody knows what I'm doing. Everybody knows what I'm tracking. I
It's
just
like
want your
in for a
opinion.
penny, in for a pound.
You know what's the big deal?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think I'm equipped to answer that question because it's not something that I personally have an issue with. It is more so a case of just wanting to let everyone have that option, and let people decide that for themselves. If there is a good case to be made for why that is wrong, then that's completely within their rights, in my opinion, for them to hold that view and for us to not infringe upon their rights in that instance.
Yeah, I like that because it's like with the leak, for example, that's happened. It's painted a perception that collecting data is wrong, but in the same way that there is a way that you can get data to benefit the community, to benefit your roadmap, and like it would be, there are interesting things that you can share, like this country prays 5 times a day, XYZ.
Yeah.
And I think there's like, there's motivational things. There's so many things you can do. I had a lot of questions on data. I'm just gonna have to skip them.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. I mean, it's a reminder as well, but yeah, I'll have to edit some of those out. There'll be clips of this that I'll edit out.
That's fine.
So future ideas and things in the next 6 months. Have you got anything particular planned? Like, what's the big priorities that you guys are going for?
So the number one priority at the moment is an Android widget, because at the moment, the Android widget, because at the moment, like it's only on iOS.
Why didn't you release with the Android bit in production? Was it a particular bug that you were facing, or?
No, so it wasn't a bug. It was purely a case of like there would be at least 2 frameworks that I'm going to have to learn. Like, because at the moment, like I am the only developer for it, and like I'm working on other things at the time as well, at the moment as well. We felt as if majority of our users would be iPhone users, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, but unfortunately for the Android users. But we did feel that way. Pardon?
You have the data.
I mean, we do actually. We have data on installs. So we've seen that we have, I think it's over 20,000 downloads on iOS, but it's still below 10,000 downloads on Android. But that could be like, yeah, it could be a chicken and egg situation though. It could be like, maybe it's because we have the iOS widget and not the Android widget. But yeah, so with the widget, it has to be done natively. So for the iOS widget, I had to learn Xcode. And I found Xcode quite, alhamdulillah, like it wasn't too bad. It was a bit long having to learn like some of the, I don't know, have you developed in Xcode before?
I've not developed in Xcode, no.
Yeah, so alhamdulillah, like it wasn't too bad in terms of UI. In terms of data, there were a few things.
You're talking about Swift?
Sorry, yeah, Swift.
Yeah, just thinking like Xcode. I'm not gonna lie, guy.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. I make the mistake.
No, I've not coded in Swift. Very, very little. but not a full stream application. No.
But yeah, so Swift in terms of UI, alhamdulillah, it's not bad. In terms of data, like passing in prayer time data and stuff like that, and even interfacing between the native Swift code and the Flutter application, that was a bit tiring. But yeah, it's a case of doing the same for Android now, and unfortunately, that's taken a lot longer than expected and anticipated. I had to actually enroll in an Android development course so that I could learn how to do the Android widget. Whereas, alhamdulillah, with the Swift, with the iOS widget, there were really good resources on YouTube that helped. Alhamdulillah.
For Flutter, you're using the widget for Flutter in Android as well?
No, as in, wait, sorry. What do you mean by that?
The Flutter framework allows widgets.
No.
You're coding that natively.
It has to be done natively, yeah. So with Java and XML, yeah, unfortunately.
All right, okay. And that decides the size, dimensions, the 2x2, the 3x4.
Everything. Yeah.
Configure that. All right, okay. So is it ready, or you could plan to?
No, so I'm still working on it, unfortunately. Inshallah, it should be ready in the next week. Please make dua. But that's like an immediate. After the widget, there are a few things. So one thing is we want to have mosque timetables.
SubhanAllah, connected house. I was just going to say that. One particular masjid, I'm the only developer. We have a team of people for this particular masjid, and we had to build the whole prayer timetable system in PHP and MySQL on top of WordPress, and then that actual prayer timetable ties up into the big screens. And so there isn't a system. I mean, I wanted an application for the masjid. A lot of people have asked. But if, for example, the Pillars application was to have an API where we could promote, for example, and say, this particular masjid, you can just use the Pillars application. We're fully integrated with them. They can select it. You're bang on the money there. Nobody is doing that. And a couple of years ago, when I was going to make my own prayer times application, that's one thing I wanted to achieve. And I think it's a good, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think it's a good strategic move as well to give the Pillars app a more authority across the marketplace, that most masjids are using the Pillars application for their prayer time. So that's in the roadmap then?
That's on the roadmap very soon. Well, not very soon, but very soon in terms of when we have it planned. But yeah, so like the update immediately after the Android widget would be two things. It would be select mosque timetables. It would literally just be a case of us scraping that data from online and then passing it into the app. So there are a few like big mosques, like East London Mosque. That's one where loads of people want their specific timetables, understandably so. And then once you have that timetable as well, there's something called, I think it's the London Unified Prayer Times. And it's basically like loads of different mosques in London just use times based on East London Mosque. So just by passing that data, we would be able to provide prayer times for all these different mosques in London. There's that, and then maybe a few big mosques across the country, and then eventually perhaps like in other countries as well. And also the option for custom prayer calculation methods. So there have been a few people who have come to us and they've said like the presets that we have at the moment don't align with what their mosque are using, which is fair enough. So that would all be in one update.
In the Western world, there isn't a unified system. Like in the UAE, you've got Al-Qaf, and in Egypt and KSA, there's more. You have to follow the state's time, and everybody's more unified.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
it causes a lot of confusion. Because you'll have people...
Read these for me tomorrow, boy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like that sort of unity is like sorely needed in the Ummah, I think, especially in the West. But yeah, it causes confusion. Like say in the UK, we have persistent twilight at the moment. And even that alone causes confusion for people because they'll go onto the app, say if they've selected like certain prayer time calculation methods, and the actual calculated times will be something, from my area at least, it will be like 12:58 for Isha and then 12:59 for Fajr. Just because like red twilight and white twilight, I don't think they actually set in. And because there's ijtihad on like what you should do in those scenarios, there's so much difference of opinion on like, okay, what's the right way of going about it? Do you cut off at the middle of the night? Do you cut off at the 7th of the night? Do you use an angle-based approach? And it's almost like people are at each other's necks, like, no, this is the right method. This is the right method.
Is there any scholars behind the application? Are you working with any ulama?
No, so not at the moment. But that's definitely something we want to do ASAP. Because that's a big like amount on our heads. Like we want to ensure that everything we're doing is like 100% accurate. We really don't want to risk like serving someone the wrong information. When it comes to so say that latitude ruling, what you do in somewhere like the UK where persistent twilight happens. I had to have a discussion with someone who's a student of knowledge and get them to ask like their sheikh whether or not it would be okay to even set a default value for something like this, or if we had to prompt the user to like select one. But at that point, you might even introduce more confusion for the user, because if it's not something they're aware of course, they're not going to know which option to choose either. So there's just a lot of tact that goes into it. And yeah, inshallah, like soon, we really want to get a scholar on board.
Yeah, I love that, but especially when you're developing an Islamic application, to get the balance of all the schools of thought and the general, the general consensus. I find that really interesting to get it, especially on some of my applications, like Aikada, for example. Aikada calculates your missed salah. So it works on Barik day and custom day. So actually there's an update coming up soon. Have you downloaded the application? You've seen Aikada?
So I looked into it and it looks amazing, mashallah, but I didn't buy it yet because it's a paid app, right?
Yeah, so we're going to release it, and the next release free, and there'll be a premium subscription as well.
Yeah. Okay, mashallah. I mean, I'm a broke university student at the moment, so I couldn't afford to.
I'll try to get a code out for you as well when it gets released. Because like with Google and iTunes, and I'm just coming to commercialization of the app now, when you release it to the marketplace, if it's a paid application, for you to make it a free application, they can no longer go back to commercial. So if I take off the commercial license, it can never go back to a commercial application. So I made the mistake originally not to put in-app purchases. So it's one of the features. But going back onto that, like I always, because Qada Salah is so, there's so many dynamics to it. It's so challenging with FAQs and customization.
Like, do you start at puberty or do you?
Height, there's so many different calculations to do. So alhamdulillah, in the next release, it's going to be like a big flow of actually guiding you through. Because when you see, like me, you're 15 and you're not prayed for 10 years, and then you think, oh, okay, it's time now. And you see all the years. That's because in Fara'id, it's like you have your 5 prayers plus witr, which is 6 times 365, which you need to convert to Gregorian, times by 15 years, comes like 20,000, 10,000 salah that you've got. So, man, it's very interesting. So commercialization of the application. I know a lot of people are going to be watching this on Twitter, and we're going to post it on our channels. I don't want to put anything. Are you planning to have any commercial features? Because if you're going to achieve, I've been reading the messages about TikTok, and you want to scale the application up. If you're going to achieve those numbers and like get the Masjid API and the technology that you need to get, are you looking for funding, or are you going to go for a commercial route or in-app purchases? Or
so this is something me and Abdul Rahman have discussed quite a bit. Because in order for the app to be sustainable and grow, at some point we are going to need some sort of revenue just to pump back into that app. In terms of how we want to go about that, one way we've sort of decided on is this members club. So people have already come to us. Quite a few people have come offering to donate to the app. Just to help like fund everything, which is really nice to see. Like, alhamdulillah. Yeah, definitely. And we really want people to be a part of that, but we haven't taken any donations as of yet. And we want to kind of avoid that for now, just because it would be like quite a big amount on us. Just to ensure that like everything that we would put that money towards would be for Sadaqah Jariyah. So what we would rather do, rather than taking donations, is provide something for the users that they're happy about. and they're happy to pay for. So the idea of a members club is anything that's purely convenience or aesthetics, we can put into the members club. So things like different themes for the app, different widget designs, just purely, what's the word? Yeah, convenience features. That could be into like a monthly or yearly subscription sort of thing. But yeah, we would never force users to pay to, say, remove ads or pay to like keep the app free or anything like that. Yeah.
Charging the masjids or any particular organization, excuse me, sorry, bro. If there's any, you can charge them as well a commercial license. They want to use the application to host their prayer times, like scraping versus posting the data. I think scraping come a lot of challenges with that.
Oh, 100%. So that's something we want to. So the second update, or sorry, the first update after the Android update, the Android widget update, would be the scraping mosque times. But one thing we do eventually want to do is create like a portal for mosques, like a web portal where they can input their data. But yeah, something like that might be paid for as well.
Yeah, it's much better. You can pay. You'd only get serious developers then, not spam and all incorrect data. So are you planning to do anything like your competitors? They have a lot. Pardon?
Sorry, yeah, you go. I was going to say Apple.
Yeah, I was coming to that Apple Watch, and like I was driving in the car, like, hey, Pillars App, can you tell me where the local taking that level for AI? That's also in the roadmap, prior the watch.
Yeah, eventually. It's just that it's not our priority right now. That is something that we do see as purely a convenience feature, and I feel as if quite a few Android users were quite annoyed at us for pushing an iOS widget and not an Android widget like alongside each other, and so prioritizing, say, an Apple Watch complication over just general features that everyone can use might like rub people the wrong way. But yeah, it is definitely on our roadmap, inshallah.
You planning to do anything like the Adhan customization or wallpapers or Quran 99 names? Are you generally that you're going towards a Muslim plus application with prayer times?
Yeah, so I mean, there are quite a few things that we want to do with it. It's just a case of ensuring that the app doesn't become bloated, because while it is nice to have one app to go to for everything, when you do add everything into one app, the app becomes hard to use. It's a very tough UI design job, I think, to come up with something with so many features that doesn't feel hard to use. You don't want to add friction to the user experience. At the moment, it's nice for our users because it's just a prayer time app and Qibla. So when they want to see their prayer times, they can open the app and they can see, oh, straight away, Maghrib, or the next prayer is at this time. They don't have to go through a whole like user flow. So things like Quran, things like 99 names, potentially in the future, if we can think of some way to implement it nicely such that it doesn't detract from the user experience. If not, we may release them as separate apps.
Okay. Multi-language is coming then as well?
Yeah, definitely. Inshallah, potentially in the next update. We're looking
in the Arab world, especially. I mean, I'm sure you've shared it with family back home and everybody.
So inshallah, like Arabic will be in the next update. We're looking for French as well. Quite a few people have offered to help, which is nice. Pardon? Yeah, Fusha, inshallah. But yeah, potentially Urdu or something as well. Like I'm Pakistani. I could get my parents to help translate that. Yeah, inshallah.
So do you know the download rates of where countries are coming from at the moment? Have you got
so Apple will give us access to that data. On the App Store, it's majority UK. And then I think the second is the United States. And then third is Malaysia.
Malaysia guys, man, I love this. They're always there.
I really want to visit the country. It seems like such an amazing place.
I've never been. It's definitely on my list to go. I mean, if you're listening, Malaysia, and if you've got any Malaysian applications you want to interview, I love the Malaysian people. so inspirational. Their technology world is on a different planet.
Really?
Very different. Yeah, the city and the modernization that they've done here. Dubai is one thing we've got. Just now, like I renewed my car. You've got in the UK, you've got an MOT, but here everything is done online. You go to one center, but the rest of the services, the e-government, everything is converted. And Malaysia is like one of the forefront Muslim countries that have been doing it for years anyway. So Malaysia is like third.
Yeah, Malaysia.
Arab countries?
Any Arab countries? I haven't checked, to be honest. Abdul Rahman would know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I could probably check now if you're interested.
I'm going to go to rapid fire questions. Rapid fire questions are just, I didn't get a chance to update some of these, but I'm going to ask you anyway. You just have to answer them as quickly as you can, as fast as you can.
I'll try.
And there's no right or wrong answer as well.
Can I elaborate on the answers, or?
You can elaborate on some of the answers, yeah. But I'll have to be frank, like if there's a timer or something like that. I should make a rule. I think I'm going to get a rule.
Maybe.
Like the podcasters have rules and stuff like that, so I'll have to like make it a bit more technical, inshallah, in the future. And then we can wrap up, and you can ask any other questions that you want, and if there's anything that you want to give, you want to share to your audience as well. 3 fun facts about yourself.
3 fun facts about myself. I've been skydiving. No, it was actually indoor skydiving.
Okay.
It was an experience. I was quite young at the time.
Exaggerate the truth a little bit.
Skydiving nonetheless. But yeah, there was that.
Where was that, if you don't mind me asking? Was indoor skydiving where?
So I'm not too sure where it is, because I did it when I was quite young. So I was driven by my parents. But it was at this company called Airkix.
Okay.
So AIRKIX.
You wear the clothes, yeah?
Yeah, you wear the clothes and everything. You go into like this wind tunnel, and it's like they teach you like spread out if you want to go higher, and then bring your body in closer if you want to go lower. But that was an experience. So that's one fact. Second fact, I enjoy bouldering. I think bouldering is really fun.
Bouldering isn't climbing those rocks?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually becoming an Olympic sport in the next Olympics.
You curved it or something like this, big rocks, yeah? And you have to start very difficultly and like angled up. Okay.
Yeah.
MashaAllah.
And a third fact.
In London, or you going to like a climbing club?
London, alhamdulillah. There are a few different climbing walls in London. I don't have a membership in one of the gyms because I go like, again, sporadically. Like I've been injured for a while. I broke my thumb like 2 months ago. So I haven't been for a while, but it's something I enjoy doing. And then a third fact, I don't know, I'm drawing a blank. What would you give as your top 3 facts or fun facts?
Oh my God, I can't believe you asked me that question. So fun facts. Fun facts, number 1, I've been doing horse riding for the last year, alhamdulillah. Amazing. I mean, it works all your body. I've fallen off a few times, nearly got seriously hurt, but I like it. I love it. There's so much spirituality with the horses, etc. Number 2, I'm learning to be Hafiz Quran. I've been doing that now for 2 months. I'm hoping to complete as soon as I can. I also have a school, third fact, which is thehifz.com. I don't know if you checked it out.
I did. It looks amazing, mashallah.
You want to join?
I would love to. I couldn't see what the fees were like though.
So the fees is the number 1 question that we get. So I won't answer in this call. It's a 6-month or 12-month Hifz. Actually, we're enrolling, and they're based on cohorts. So every 2 months, we have 10 to 12 students, serious students. They can be professionals, etc., etc. We're going off the topic, but I'll quickly summarize that one. And that's my school. Is at the moment we're online. Before we were based in Manchester, and because of the COVID, we're not always. So it's entirely online. People in Qatar, people in Dubai, people memorizing Surah Al-Mulk in 2 hours, Surah Waqia in 3 hours, memorizing within 4 to 5 months. I'm not as fast, and I'm not a Hafiz. So I thought, because I founded this school, it's time for me to do it. So I've been doing it for the last 2 months, and I've not officially enrolled onto the actual Hifz 6 or 12 months. But I'll be joining soon. So studying, horse riding, and I have school. But you didn't answer the third question, the fun fact about you.
I'll be honest, I've been trying to think of one this whole time. I still can't. Honestly, my mind
We'll
just
go
goes back
past it.
sometimes.
How do you bring, I can't believe I'll ask this question. I think I'm going to get rinsed in the comments. How do you bring ideas to life? You can skip this if you want.
How do I bring ideas to life? Just by working on them. It's nice to have ideas, but they mean nothing if you don't actually work on them.
Do you whiteboard?
I used to back in sixth form. I don't have a whiteboard anymore, unfortunately.
Sticky
But-
notes?
No, I just use. Have you heard of Todoist?
I've got Todoist, Microsoft Todoist, yeah? Sorry, no, the red one, yeah? Todoist.
Yeah, the red one. Yeah, so it's just like any ideas, like just note them down there. Or Abdurrahman loves noting everything down on Notion.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah.
I love
He's
Notion.
amazing at coming up with stuff.
Okay. 3 trends that excite you.
3 trends that excite me. Well, I guess the first one is machine learning, if that counts as a trend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing things like, I mean, I think I know about GPT-3. I don't know if there's a GPT-4 yet, but I know there is one coming out soon eventually, if it isn't already out. But that's something that's so cool to me. Like, I remember, have you heard of GPT?
No, I
3?
was just going to ask you what that is.
Oh, so it was like a machine learning, I think, algorithm. But it was essentially AI created by, I think it was Google DeepMind.
Okay.
And it was just able to do like crazy stuff. Like there was an article that this AI wrote for The Guardian. I think the title of the article itself was like, "I'm AI, but I'm not trying to kill you," or something like that.
That's incredible. I read
But
that.
yeah, it was really cool.
By a
Yeah.
robot model.
Yeah, it was crazy to see. And I feel like the technology, like when it comes to technology, everything's exponential. So if we're getting things like that now, like even with no code solutions, I mean that's a trend that I'm not so happy about. But no code solutions, like
What do you mean no code solutions?
no code is like just building, say, software or apps without any code. So whether that's drag and drop or GPT-3, you were able to literally type what you
Can't
would
stand
want.
that stuff. Wix,
Yeah.
drag and drop editors,
Yeah.
Bakery, WordPress, Bakery. The
Yeah.
killer of freelancers and, you can never get. It's like pizza. You go, you put it in a machine or a frozen one. You have to
Yeah.
get developers
Oh,
drive.
100%. If you want it proper, yeah. But yeah, so GPT-3, like you would just give it a sentence, say, "Oh, I want a website with a red background and this button," and it would pass all that data that you gave it, well, just that sentence, and it would create it. And that's at very early stages.
I saw
If
that
things
a long time
continue,
ago. A front end framework as well. I think you could draw some of the tables as well and say, I want this div, 3 divs, give me a header here, footer here. And then I've seen something like that as well. Machine learning is definitely on my radar as well, because but like for iQada as well, I want to get some machine learning in there because of notifications. I pray most of my qada for the day after Dhuhr. So I'll get everything in then, because it's like now in a few minutes, I've got to pray Isha, I've got to pray Qada Isha, I've got to pray Sunnah, I've got to pray Qada Witr, and then the Fard Witr. So like notifications on users and machine learning. I like it. I like
when's
machine
the best
learning.
time to set it? Yeah.
The different thing is like it's a model though. You
have to train it.
You have to build the actual solution first, the model of what you want to get, and then you feed into that model. So just getting that rationale, it's like learning code again, which is
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's literally like learning anything. Like there's a reason why it's called a neural network. It's essentially how our brains learn as well. Just that sort of repetition and just pattern recognition. Yeah.
This is what developers do. We go up the topic.
Oh no, I have to come up with two other trends, right?
Yeah, definitely, inshallah, definitely. I mean, like the audience don't know, but after the call, I've got so many ideas for projects as well, inshallah.
Yeah.
I'd love to do one with you as well. One is coming up actually as well. So I've got another developer. Yeah, let's not spoil the audience. What inspires you?
What inspires me? It's a very cliche answer.
Okay, next question. No, thanks for that. What is one mistake? What is one mistake that your readers can learn from, or one mistake you've done and you wanted to share to the audience?
getting too caught up in planning. So planning how you're going to like go about it, how you're going to start this thing rather than just starting it.
Okay.
Yeah. So when it comes to like coding in general, I would rather think about like, okay, how am I going to set up the architecture rather than just starting it? But I think once you just start it, then everything else like falls into place quite easily.
Yeah.
So that's something I've had to learn the hard way through like various other projects. But yeah,
That's good. Just dive deep then, yeah? Just chuck the child in the deep end and then
yeah,
Bismillah,
definitely.
hope for the best. Hope for the best. Any books that you've been reading recently? Any books?
Yeah, so I'm reading. I've actually got this one. My Islamic Society sent it to us
Okay.
for Ramadan.
Who's wrote it?
Muhammad Saleh Al Munajid, developing khushu in the prayer. So that's quite nice.
Okay.
So yeah, I've finished that now. And then I'm reading. A friend sent to me A Thinking Person's Guide to Our Times,
Okay.
and that's quite good. I'm about a quarter of the way through it.
What's it about?
So it's about like the Islamic world, and the sort of state that we're in, from like loads of different approaches. It's like sociologically, economically. I think there were other things as well. It was like, yeah, just loads of different issues that we're facing at the moment, and the world's facing, and the Islamic world. And I believe later on in the book there are going to be like steps that we can take to solve those things. Yeah, it's quite good. It's an interesting read. The foreword's by Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, which is really nice.
Really?
Yeah.
It is recently he's wrote this book, published. Is it all?
Oh, which one?
The Ideas, the one that you just said.
Oh no, as in the foreword is done by him.
Okay, the forward is done by him. Fantastic one, inshallah. I'll definitely check that out, inshallah. Sounds good. What is one idea that you're willing to give away to any readers?
One idea that I'm willing to give away. What does the question mean?
I'll answer one from my side. Here in the Middle East, I mean, I didn't get the chance to do it, and because I've got other projects and now HIFS and my day job, it's taking my time. I think it's a good idea to have a Middle East North Africa CDN, a content delivery network. There isn't one. Africa, Nigeria, brothers and sisters, all the coders that are coming, especially in the west and east side of Africa, in Pakistan and India, the only service that they have, and AWS is coming to the UAE, but there isn't a massive scale CDN that's there. And also like an Islamic AI, that's another idea that I would say, like when you're driving in the car or a talking service, but that technology is like even Siri and Google.
Yeah.
They're so off the mark.
Yeah, I mean there are cool things you can do with Siri. Like this is on our roadmap as well, but you can add like Siri integrations. So it's like you could add, okay, Siri, what time is Maghrib, or what time is Fajr, etc., and it will pull data from our app and serve that to the user. So yeah, that's something on our roadmap as well.
So this is the question then.
Yeah. What idea?
Yeah.
What's an idea?
Loads of mortgages, finance and loans, mashallah.
Yeah, I mean, this is one that we were asked to do, but because of time commitments, I don't think it's something that we can do in the near future. But a privacy-focused social media app, especially for Muslims, I think that would be quite cool. I think it's quite a challenging thing to do because you have to ensure that it doesn't go off the rails as well.
I was just thinking that I've got a few friends that I would like to add.
Oh no, are you going to edit that bit out or?
The pretense of privacy.
Yeah, but yeah, that's something I'm happy to give away.
One person that you'd love to see, or you personally would love to interview or meet.
Sheikh Hamza Yusuf or Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad. Mashallah. Yeah, I love listening to them. Like just when I'm on walks, I'll listen to either their YouTube videos or Sheikh Hamza Yusuf has a podcast, Sacred Text Messages. And they're just really nice to listen to. It's like both of them.
Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad.
Pardon?
Cambridge. He's in Cambridge, yeah? They built a
Yeah.
new masjid. Have you met
Yeah.
him?
I've never met him, unfortunately.
I think
But
that's one of my biggest regrets now being out here in Dubai. And if I was in the UK, it's definitely, it's just up the road.
yeah, I mean, I visited the mosque literally like 2-3 weeks ago. Unfortunately, the hay fever, like the pollen in Cambridge, was really bad. So yeah, so I was sneezing like the whole time. But the mosque itself is beautiful, mashallah. It's really cool. Yeah.
What, and there's only a few more questions. What's the most important professional quality you think somebody can have? And you're not a medical student, so arrogance.
Yeah.
Are the students like that? Are they, is it,
That's students.
Abdurrahman is something else, because when I started speaking with him, mashallah, top. But is that a medical trait that they've got?
With the medical students that I've spoken to and I've met, like, alhamdulillah, I haven't had to deal with anything like that. But I have heard it's a big problem with med students in general. I don't know if that's necessarily like, I don't know if that's because they're med students, or maybe it's a desirable trait that helps them. But I do know there is like a lot of competitiveness within medicine as well. So things like people trying to get the top deciles or complaining about other students. Just this whole like cutthroat competitive nature. It's quite
one of the best qualities you can have as a professional then.
Can I give one specific to coders or programmers?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I would say laziness. It's quite an unconventional one. But I mean, I read this ages ago, but I really think it's true. If you're lazy, you'll want to implement something in the fastest way possible, which oftentimes tends to be the most efficient way. And this like links back into what I was talking about earlier with just trying to dive like headfirst into something and not planning about it too much. If you just want to get it done, odds are you're going to find an efficient way to get it done. And I think that's valuable.
Yeah. I think Bill Gates said something like that. Lazy developers make the best developers. I think it was him. And any last, and I agree with you on that. But there needs to be a better word to say that.
Yeah.
We need to come
actually be resourceful or something.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
So any last questions or things that you want to share to the viewers, or you've got anything else you want to mention about Pillars or yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd just love to hear more feedback. Like, it's something we enjoy, like, reading. We read all the tweets that are sent to us, all the messages, all the comments on videos about it. We would just love to hear the community's input, and just how they're finding the app, their experiences with it, what they love most about it, what they would like to see. That sort of engagement, it's nice. It really helps us with the whole process, and it's really fulfilling, like, as a result of it.
Yeah, mashallah. It's a sadaqah jariyah as well. And may Allah Ta'ala accept it from you brothers as well. I get so many messages from developers, and this is out to all of you guys as well. Like Brother Tariq and Abdurrahman, is all about getting things done. I see Abdurrahman's messages that developers said, "Oh, I was planning to do this, I was planning to do this, I was planning to..." In fact, when that leak happened, one of my friends here in Dubai says, "You have to do something." I said, no. I said, "I don't have the time." I told him straight away, I don't have the time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Allah Ta'ala has chosen you guys. So I want Muslims to get better in technology, and this is what the channel is about, to inspire users to code and to get going, because I think technology, it empowers us and empowers our lives as well. And all the problems as well in the Muslim Ummah, we can only fix them ourselves.
Definitely.
So, Tariq, thank you so much for your time. May Allah Ta'ala accept it and forgive us if you've said anything wrong as well. And I'm going to put the links for Android and iOS in the description. And brothers and sisters, please download them. Please download the Pillars application. Spread the word, share it. It's privacy. It's privacy free, ad free. It's Muslim made, which is another point that I love. And it's free as well. And the app it feels good. If you check my part 1 video, you can see it. Feels nice to use. It's fast. It's very light, and it works offline. So these are big selling points. So share it with your family and friends. and make dua for Brother Tariq and Abdul Rahman that Allah inspires them to build and give more to the community and put more into the application. And Allah reward all the people who we forgot to mention and all the people who inspired you and give you a lot of ideas as well. All the users on Twitter especially.
I mean,
Jazakallah khair.
لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا تأثيما إلا قيلا سلاما سلاما